It seems like when I decide to do a video on Druidcraft, which has been taking me a long time to get around to doing, it's going to be upstaged by something that happens on the internet, such as Wizards of the Coast dropping an Unearthed Arcana. And I can see already my comment sections being filled up with that sort of stuff. And so if you're wondering why this title has like more than one title, it's because I'm realizing I'm probably not going to be able to get away with not talking about it. So there are two topics for today, and I'm going to do Druidcraft first, okay? That's why I spent the whole week preparing and making sure it was all ready to go. So I'm definitely talking about Druidcraft. I'm going to put up a poll right now, ask you a question. But I will also talk about the Unearthed Arcana Expert Class playtest packet that dropped after I talk about the Druidcraft spell, because that's why I put all that work in the first place, and why you've had to wait like forever for this thing to actually come about. So be prepared. We have two topics for today. We'll see how well my voice holds out for those of you who are wondering what the heck is going on. So grab some food, grab some drink, make sure you are comfortable. We are going to go into a... This is about as extensive as I can be with Druidcraft, I think. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Weller, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, because I usually do talk about Dungeons & Dragons. The topic for today is Druidcraft, and much to my surprise, there really isn't that much there. If you look on the internet, on YouTube, there's not a lot actually documented that discusses Druidcraft, other than those people who say the spell is awesome and those people who say the spell is garbage and that prestidigitation is a better spell. Beside the point, if you can't get access to those other spells and your choice is you are a druid and you have Druidcraft. So we have to talk about the topic and how you use it. So today, this is clever uses of Druidcraft in Dungeons & Dragons 5e, for those of you who have been waiting so long for me to finally get around to discussing the topic. And so I want to give you everything that you need on this. There are some important limitations to the Druidcraft spell, such as the range of 30 feet. It's not a long range. The verbal commands and the gestures to cast the spell. They do actually put in place some restrictions for us. Any time that the Druidcraft spell is cast in secret or in a stealthy manner, your character will need to have the subtle spell metamagic feature from the sorcerer, or take the metamagic adapt feat so that you can access the metamagic features of the sorcerer in the first place. When a suggestion or any suggestion that I give requires you to be further than 30 feet away from the target, it's not going to work, obviously. And in many situations, with all of the suggestions that I'm going to offer for today, if the caster of Druidcraft will probably find themselves having to be hidden or invisible if subterfuge is involved. If you're trying to be deceptive and sneaky in some way, if you have any kind of subterfuge being involved, then you're probably going to have to be hidden or invisible for it to work. And of course, that invisibility needs to be a better invisibility. So standard invisibility won't be good enough. Greater invisibility so you can cast a spell and not suddenly become visible again. So just wanted to make that clear to you, just in case you were unsure. So now I'm going to go through each element of the spell, give you some suggestions. As I said, with the things that I just stated before, there are some times where you will have to have metamagic involved, the subtle spell metamagic, and you will have to have either be hidden or invisible in some way. Okay, so you can create a tiny harmless sensory effect that predicts the weather. Let's break that down. So what can we do with that? We can deceive an NPC or non-player character into thinking the spellcaster is godly in some way and can control the weather with a tiny sensory weather effect. May work, may not. Who knows? We'll see. Depends on your dungeon master. Depends on how well you roll on your dice. Intimidate a monster into thinking you're creating a storm with rain clouds or falling snow. Now, that's only going to work if that's what the prediction for the weather is in the first place. But we're putting it forward anyway, just in case, you never know. Check the weather forecast. Probably more important is checking the weather forecast before going on an ocean voyage. Probably very sensible to do, and ongoing checks as you are traveling to make sure you know what you're going to get yourself into. What about offering advice to a farmer by correctly predicting the weather, and then you charge them a small fee, because it's quite useful for a farmer to know what the weather is going to be. Certainly, you get at least a day's notice as to what the weather's going to be like, and they can plan out their day. That would be quite useful if you want to make just a few coins. Warn the port master. This is the individual who looks after all of the ships at dock. Tell them when to secure the vehicle, the vessels or the ships just before a major storm. So if you know that there's a major storm coming, you can go and talk to the port master and give them a warning, and maybe charge a small fee for that as well. What about entertaining the local children with minor sensory weather effects? I'm sure that the children would be far more interested in watching you perform your little trick rather than doing homework or chores or other things. So maybe that would be quite entertaining. You again, you may be able to use that to your benefit to make some coin, but probably not from children. Okay, the next one. Instantly make a flower bloom, a seed pod open, or a leaf bud bloom. Now, this is a bit more complicated because instantly blooming something doesn't mean that it's coming to fruition. So it's not like you're creating fruit, okay? They are vastly different ideas. And I think in this case, a lot of these ideas do kind of work, but do require a dungeon master to be on board with these ideas. Otherwise, they probably won't work. So first off, distract an NPC or non-player character with a seed pod bursting open. If you wanted to do that, maybe they'll be distracted by that. It's like throwing a coin. You throw your pod, you make it burst open. Again, subtle magic may be required, because you don't want to give away your position if you're trying to distract an NPC. What about throwing seed pods at an enemy's eyes and then having them explode open to blind them? That may or may not work, we'll see. What about trigger a trap or trap mechanism by throwing the seed pod near it and then have it break open, particularly for very sensitive traps. You could also have a flower bloom at night. Quite useful because flowers don't normally bloom at night. Or if it's closed, you can then have it open up at night, and then you can still sell those flowers for some coin if you wanted to. Make of closed flowers bloom open or open up to seduce an NPC, non-player character. Maybe, look, it works. Women like flowers. I'm sure some men like flowers as well. So look, male, female, if it works, great. But there's another way of sort of utilizing it. Very specific and niche situations, I have to admit. Throw a seed pod full of deadly poisonous seeds, if you can find one, that is. Have it explode open when it hits a monster. So in other words, you're going to throw it, have it open up, and when it strikes the monster, hopefully the poisonous seeds will poison it, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. Okay, next one. Create an instantaneous, harmless sensory effect. Probably one of the more important aspects. So what can we do with this? This is one of the major effects from other spells, the universal Swiss Army knife of Dungeons & Dragons. We should just call it create magic, frankly. What can you do with it? You could mimic a parrot sound to produce sort of basic common lines or dialogue, particularly if you are dealing with like one or two words. That might be something you can pull off with the Druidcraft cantrip. Create the sound of a fart, one of my favorite things to do, to shock an NPC, non-player character, or a creature. Signal the party. This could be more than useful. Signal the party when danger is approaching with the sound of a bird call, particularly when you are really useless at making bird noises. Like, this might actually be the right time to do it. Again, a lot of subterfuge is required, so you might be looking at the subtle spell metamagic. It's just one of those things. You're going to find yourself having to use it quite a lot, I suspect. Make the noise of a small animal, like a dog barking or an owl hooting, to distract a monster. Like, there's going to be a lot of distracting monsters and creatures with this spell for sure. Create a small bright light to surprise an NPC or non-player character. Make your hand or eyes crackle with lightning to scare an NPC or monster. So you maybe use that in conjunction with intimidation. What about entertain the local folks with minor magical sensory effects to earn a few coins on the street? You're going busking today. You need to make some money. Druidcraft, you can probably get away with quite a few different things. Like the last one, and that is instantly light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. In this case, many of these suggestions require you to be hidden or invisible. Otherwise, it's probably not going to work, and in conjunction may also require the subtle spell metamagic feature. Otherwise, it's not going to generally work. So the first one, you could put a group of enemies into darkness by snuffing out the campfire or a torch. If you have dark vision and they don't have dark vision, that would give you a major advantage. I mean, there are advantages to throwing a situation into darkness, whether they have dark vision or not, but I'm offering that up. Distract an NPC or non-player character by making torches or lights flicker on and off if you wanted to sort of confuse them a bit. Light a campfire or a torch when a creature is on it or standing on top of it, so it will burn them. You're kind of using it like an improvised trap. And then the last one is if you have a lightly soaked or wet campfire and flint and steel won't light that fire, then Druidcraft would be able to achieve what you want. Now, I want to just say very quickly, a lot of these ideas have come from a particular individual, Mike K, who put together an article on how to use Druidcraft. And Mike got a lot of flack for his ideas and suggestions. And so I went through his list. A lot of his stuff is here. And I think people were a bit too harsh. So I had to look at what he had offered and suggested and see where were the problems. Okay, so I have included a link to his article down in the description, and you're welcome to go and check it out. Now, the reason why a lot of Mike's ideas that he presented weren't really going to work is, one, because you weren't taking into consideration the subtle spell feature, that metamagic subtle spell. You kind of have to have that if you're going to get Druidcraft to do any significant thing. And then the other thing is obviously needing to be hidden or invisible in many cases, because the range is only 30 feet, and because you're so close, and if you're trying to do something that's you don't want anybody to notice that it's coming from you and that you're casting a spell, if you want to hide that, you've got to do it some way, and the only way is to be either hiding, hidden, invisible, and then, of course, on top of that, you wind up with the subtle spell metamagic being required as well. There's a lot of things going into play. But it doesn't mean that it can't be a useful spell. It just means you need to consider a lot of other aspects. These sorts of ideas and concepts have the same problems with other spells that aren't Druidcraft. So it's not like other spells that I've talked about in the past don't require you to be hidden or invisible, or don't require you to have the subtle spell metamagic feature, because they certainly do. The only thing is, in this case, it becomes far more obvious when you break it all down. I'm really hoping this video was useful to you, that you found it helpful, and in some way will inspire you to be a bit more creative with Druidcraft and change the way you play the game. So I just want to say thank you for watching my video, and hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay, I'm not gone. let's go over to chat. Let's see what people have to say. Now, there are so many people live streaming or have been live streaming about the Unearthed Arcana. I'm frankly surprised that that this video has even got a chance. So to give you an idea, I'm going to release it at some point as an edited video, Druidcraft, because I feel like it's getting absolutely sort of overridden by the excitement around the new Unearthed Arcana, which frankly is annoying, but I know it's a reality. Okay. Right. Let me just. Oh, did I put that back in there? I didn't need to do that. Just give me a second while I just have a look at the chat and your response to the poll. Yes, I will talk about the Unearthed Arcana, since that seems to be what everybody wants me to talk about, or everybody wants to talk about. I shouldn't be surprised. I have not had a chance to look at the document. But if there's anybody here who actually would like to talk about Druidcraft, the cantrip, the spell, and how they use it in their game, I would really like to hear about it. Now, Seeker's actually got something here, so let's have a look at what you've got. Can't see a playlist on the channel for a DM guide to running D&D 5e for kids with Sadie Rogers. That's interesting. Why can't you see that playlist? That playlist should exist. So to give you an idea, Seeker and anybody else who's here, occasionally what happens on YouTube is they will hide stuff. It's very annoying. They do that with videos. They may be doing it with playlists. It usually means they're conducting an experiment. Because I'm 30,000 subscribers, when you get to about 20,000 subscribers, you fall into the top 5% of YouTube, which isn't actually, frankly, that hard if you ask me. And as a result, they conduct a lot of experiments on you. So you find yourself with all sorts of things going on and you don't know why. Your analytics won't help you in the slightest in that case. Okay. Would like to introduce my niece and my nephew, so we'll watch them. Okay. Let me see if I can find the link for you. Might be an idea for combining into a playlist, or more like how there are. Yeah. So I guess for me. Sorry for the drop off topic. No, off topic is fine. Look, this is part of Q&A. Okay. Let's go there. Let's find what you're looking for. Since you can't find that, see if I can find it. Maybe I can. Maybe I can't, but we'll find out in a second. D&D 5e for kids. Okay, so there I can see the videos. They're not hidden. Here we go. Here's the playlist. I found the playlist. How many are there? There are 7 videos in the playlist. One of them is a combined of the whole lot. So I'll put the link in here, so you can access it. Okay, Seeker. Here we go. Right, cool. We've got that done. Well, I guess we're going and talking about Unearthed Arcana in a second, since nobody wants to talk about Druidcraft, unfortunately. But let's have a look at this poll first. 4 votes. Oh, gosh. Man, it's one of those days. It's going to be one of those days. Have you used the Druidcraft spell in your Dungeons & Dragons 5e game? No. There's a lot of people who don't use the spell because it's a bit complicated. It's a bit hard to use. There's a few things you need to have in place or have access to. Yes, 20%, which isn't saying very many. Planning to 20%, good to hear. I'm happy to hear that. All right. Since Druidcraft is obviously not high on everybody's radar, I'm going to end this poll, which is unfortunate. And I'm going to put a new poll in. I'm going to do it anyway, but I'll put the poll in. Okay. Are you excited about the new Unearthed Arcana. Oh, come on here. New Unearthed Arcana. Expert classes. PDF that has been released. Okay, put a question mark there. Are you excited about the new Unearthed Arcana expert classes PDF that has been released? I'm going to put here yes. Going to put here no. Maybe. Undecided. Undecided. Much more. Undecided. And then I'm going to do the next one. It's going to be, what is that? And I'm sure there's going to be somebody who has no idea what I'm talking about. Here we go. Let's pump that new poll in there. You can now see and vote on it. I'm glad, Seeker, you've been able to bookmark it. Cool. Maurice B. How? To be fair, I started playing my first druid in a game last night. I took the cantrip but haven't used it. Well, I'm hoping this video helps you figure out how to use that cantrip in your game. Okay? I always wanted to be a druid but haven't had the opportunity yet. I've got a pre-painted mini and everything. So I've played a druid before. I actually find that without a lot of advice from my friends, I struggled. It was actually quite difficult. And Druidcraft often gets looked on as being a flavor spell and nothing else. But anyway, that apparently is not why everybody is here. So I'm going to open up my phone so that I can actually follow the chat. And I will start looking through this document and making some comments. And actually what I need to do is I need to make some notes as I go. Some things that sort of stand out for me that I might notice, because I'm probably going to have to talk about this thing later, right? So here we go. Waiting for the phone to open up. Unearthed Arcana. Expert core classes. It's a really long document. Man, there's a lot of pages there. I was like shocked as to just how big it was. I shouldn't be shocked because they're having to build on everything, right? So that that changes things. Okay, so let's make sure I've got my live stream up and running on my phone so I can keep an eye on chat while I'm doing this. I was going to use a window share, but that's not going to work apparently. Not with a PDF. Non-canon experimental rules. That's right. Unearthed Arcana is always playtest. It is not something that you incorporate into your game unless you want to. And right now it is very much a playtest process, or in some cases a lot of people view it as, and I kind of think that I agree, marketing. But I've seen some signals that may indicate otherwise. So let's press that button there. And we'll get rid of this. Because for some reason, there is an awful lot of people who are commenting on older videos that I've made. Something I wasn't actually expecting. I apologize for the light coming through. What I think I might do is I'm going to just show you Arnold Schwarzenegger, my break. Where is this? I'm going to just show you that bit for a second, and I'm going to just change the lighting in my space before I go straight to the document. Okay, so I'm not gone. I just don't want to see you show you me clambering around everywhere as I try to get everything sorted out. Here we go. All right. Come on, don't fall. Oh, I'm standing on my desk. Don't crush anything. Don't knock anything over. Dear. This is the problem when you have a window. I like looking out my window. I don't get to look out my window enough. But it does cause a few problems sometimes. Okay. Alright, we're almost done. Coming down. Oh. Alright. Let's see if that's kind of done what it needed to do. Get back into position. Oh. It's like climbing into the Dukes of Hazzard car right now. Alright, I'm in my spot. I've got my book, I've got my pen, I've got my noties, and with any luck, I'm going to be able to shift over and start looking at this thing. I believe so. Seriously, everybody under the sun. Okay, alright, that's better. Alright, I think I'm almost ready, people. Where is this thing? Ah, there it is. Let's go here. Since I prepared this, I might as well do it. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and yes, this is the second part of my live stream where I'm going to talk about the Unearthed Arcana, the expert classes, and there is 37 pages of documentation which I have not really had time to have a good close look at. So I'm going to have to read and figure things out as I go. If you have anything to say about it, you probably need to share that with me so that I know what's going on as well. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit problematic. I can see that right now. But let's go over and actually have a look at what we're supposed to be. Oh, that's not going to work. Let's try this screen instead. That might work a little bit better. And that's not going to. That will there. And we will shuffle over, and this is the page. 37 pages of documentation. I want to start with the rules glossary, people, rather than anything else. I think what the thing that sort of stands out for me is there's been minor adjustments and changes. I wouldn't say that there's been major adjustments and changes. I would say that most of this is very minor. Nothing sort of hugely significant in my opinion. I might actually just expand my head just a fraction. So we will go over here and just grab that and go a little bit bigger, transition over and back to where we need to be. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here. If there's anything that you are aware of in the playtest packets that you would like me to have a look at and sort of discuss, I will. But for me, this is all about, I'm seeing it for the first time, really. I really haven't had a chance to do very much with it at all. So I see that they're talking here about ability checks. That's the D20 test. It looks to me like the concept of the D20 test is still going to be retained. Now there looks like there might be a differentiation here. How's it going, Kyle? Mostly just good clarifications on rules in my opinion. Okay, so a lot of clarifications and not much else. Let's have a look here. So the ability check is one of 3 types of D20 tests. The rules often call for an ability check, and the Dungeon Master can call for an ability check, determining what ability, blah. Yes, other than an attack roll or a saving throw. That has a chance of meaningful failure. So they're using the word meaningful failure. So I guess what they're trying to do is say, don't roll dice unless there's a chance of meaningful failure. I've been saying this for a while, that I feel like rolling for 5s and 10s is kind of a waste of your time. Maybe that is what they're trying to do here, is clarify. So they're dealing with outcomes that are uncertain. We should know this. Narrative interest, Okay, so there's nothing hugely outstanding here. Skills. Again, I don't think that there's anything that sort of jumps out at me and says, wow, I need to pay attention to this. It all seems relatively simple. You make an ability check and you use your skill proficiency, which is going to be determined by your proficiency bonus and your ability modifier. So that's fine. There's nothing surprising there. Action required. Making an ability check requires you to take an action. Okay, so I guess they're stipulating this does look like a lot of clarification stuff. Like we are trying to nail down exactly what the wording needs to look like. So you don't make an ability check unless you're doing an action of some kind. That might be hide and influencing. So they are sort of giving you a range. There's nothing like standing out here that says to me, well. So now, difficulty class. What have they got to say about this? The DM decides the difficulty class of an ability check and can override a DC specified in the rules. This is a good thing to add. Okay? I've been saying this. The typical difficulty class table shows the most common DCs. Okay, so we're going to see that table. You've seen it before. It hasn't changed. The default DC for a check is a 15. And it is really worth calling for an ability check if the DC is as low as 5. Here we go. This is actually good stuff, because we've been having this this discussion where I would talk to people and they insist that you should be rolling for even a DC 5. And I'm like, no, don't do that. It's a very easy task. So I'm so glad that they have added in this wording. You might think that this means very little, but I think that they're saying that the default is a 15, which is a medium check, medium difficulty. And the fact that it is it really isn't worth doing anything that is lower than a 5, unless the potential failure is narratively interesting. So don't bother doing it unless it's narratively interesting. I would agree with that. And frankly, the only time I've ever done it is when players insist that they get to roll, even when I tell them you don't need to roll. But I'm all right with them doing it, even though they insist that they want to have a chance of failure in some ridiculous manner. So that kind of tells me that they're sort of suggesting that forget the DC 5. Maybe you'll have a DC 10, but on default, you're really going for a 15 and up. I think that's a good change. I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but I'm glad to see that in there. Okay, armor training is the new name for armor proficiency. Armor training? An existing rule that involves armor proficiency now applies to armor training. If you wear light, medium, or heavy armor and lack armor training with that type of armor, you have disadvantage on a D20 test you make that involves strength, dexterity, and you can't cast spells. Now, this is playtest material. This is harkening back to the likes of Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. I'm quite surprised to see anything like this in here. I wouldn't have thought that they would go back to this. I wonder if they will make that. It isn't concrete going to be a default standard rule at this present time, but maybe they're playing with this to see if they can bring it in as a variant rule. I think that's quite possible. For those of you who are like, I need a bit more realism in my game. I need to have it a bit more, and I suppose that kind of does it to a certain degree, doesn't it? If you equip a shield and lack armor training with shields, you don't gain the armor class bonus of the shield. Okay, so that actually makes a lot of sense. If you don't have the skills to use the shield in combat, why are you equipping it? I suppose before you could, or could you? I think this is more clarification. I think you're right again, Kyle Armstrong. This is definitely clarification. But I definitely want to take a note of the fact that skill checks has now got a little bit of a, what was it, difficulty class, DC, difficulty. I definitely find that interesting. Difficulty class change is really glad to see that. Okay, so let's move on. Armor. I'm not really too fussed about that. I think, you know, but I do feel like armor training feels like it's going to wind up being a variant rule rather than a hard, fast rule. Armor training. Armor training, okay. Variant. I don't think it'll wind up being core, personally. Right, so artisan tools. What have we got here? Anything new? Is a category of tool in which the character can gain tool proficiency for a list of blah, blah, blah. So it's given us a price, and there's nothing much to say about that. Here we go. Attacks. When you attack, you can make one attack with a weapon or an unarmed strike. Fine, okay. Equipping weapons. You can equip or unequip one weapon before or after an attack you make as part of this action, even if the attack is with an unarmed strike. I wonder if they're getting rid of interactions. I wonder if the wording is going to get rid of interactions. That would be quite interesting if that did actually happen. That doesn't seem like a big change, frankly, when you look at it, but I'm kind of wondering if maybe even the use an object that we used to have in combat may well be sort of eliminated as well. Possibly not, but that's interesting. I guess if you want to make the game easier for people to understand, ripping out a few things might be useful. Equipping weapons. Interaction. I think they might actually get rid of the concept of the interaction. But that it's not completely obvious here. Okay, moving between attacks. If you move on your turn, you can use some or all of that movement to move between the attacks of this action if you have a feature, such as extra attack that gives you more than one attack as part of the attack action. I don't know why why do we need to have that in there? Because it should have been clear before what was going on. If you move on your turn, you can use some or all of that movement to move between the attacks. Okay, and that gives you more than one attack as part of the attack action. Okay, as an extra attack, that gains you gives you. Okay, so possibly why they've put the wording in here is that people or dungeon masters have been ruling that you can move between your attacks. Yes, you can move and then attack and then move again. But when you make your attack, you have to use all of your attacks if you have extra attack. Maybe that's what's going on here. I don't know for sure, but maybe that's why the wording for that is like that. Okay, all right. I don't think that's anything that sort of stands out to me. I think that it's a no-brainer kind of. That's how I've always done it in the past. That's how I've always sort of adjudicated it. The attack roll is one of three types. Yeah, we know this. Okay. All right, so there's no mention of the critical roll, the critical hits here. Does that mean that the critical hits that we had before have gone? Arcane spells. I have heard some murmurings that might be the case, but I've only just woken up and then suddenly everything's like being dumped on the internet. Right? I don't know. All I saw was this stream of comments on videos and in Discord about stuff that I don't know what they're talking about. I don't mind the moving between attacks clarification. It wasn't super clear before for some people. Yeah, attack, move, extra attack, move, another extra attack, move. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the rules were relatively obvious in terms of how that plays out. But anyway. Okay, arcane spells draw on the blah blah blah. These are for bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. Harnessing the spell, as do artificers. But of course, we're probably not going to get anything on the artificer in this document, I would imagine. Bark skin, they talk about bark skin. Is there anything special about bark skin? I don't know that there is. You touch one willing creature, protect it, spell ends, yeah. Temporary hit points. Oh, I see. It used to didn't bark skin bump up your armor class, but you could never it wouldn't bump it up like other spells. So it would give you a set formula, and your armor class would be, is it a 16? I can't remember for sure. Move above arcane spells. Kyle, I'm not sure what that means, but if I not moved it far enough, I think here's a new version of Barkskin. I think they got rid of the armor class formula, and they've given you temporary hit points with Barkskin now. I think that's what's going on here. Yeah. Yep. Do I dislike it or like it? I didn't actually see a lot of people very happy with how Barkskin worked, so I'm not really that surprised by seeing something like this. Temporary hit points probably would actually make more sense than it affecting your armor class. So is this a good change? Yeah, I would say. Well, Barkskin is a bonus action. Was Barkskin a bonus action before? Like, I can't remember. And I'm going to have to look that up now. I'm now curious. For those of you who don't know, I like playing wizards. So when it comes to spells, I'm kind of interested about what they do with spells. Okay, so I've got to look it up. So if you know the answer already, you'll let me know. But let's have a look here. So there is Barkskin. Oh my gosh, they made Barkskin a bonus action. I hate that. I hate that so much. I really hate that. Concentration, well, that was always there. The concentration aspect hasn't changed. But they made Barkskin a bonus action spell. Why? Okay. Let me jot that down. Barkskin. I'm putting a critical hits. Where's the question mark? I don't see it anywhere. What have you got here, Kyle? Nah, the meaning the critical hits is mentioned under attack rolls, just above arcane spells on the document. Oh, okay. All right. So I'll have to go back. So I want to just make a note of that, and then Barkskin. I've got to note this down. Barkskin spell. So what have they done? They have no AC bonus. But temp hit points. I have to say, I think that's a good change. I don't like action to bonus action. I don't agree with that one. Okay, but then again, I want bonus actions to go completely from the game, and I don't think they are. They are here to stay. Unfortunately, I think they're one of the most confusing and annoying aspects of the game. All right, so let's see if I can actually find critical hits. You said above. Actions. Yeah, rolling one uses the rules for attacking and critical hits found. Yeah, that's it. They're just using the standard stuff from the player's handbook. It's just the PHB. 2014. Now, I did say that the critical hits rule that they put forward in the Unearthed Arcana, the first one, that was the character origins, that the critical hits rules was not going to survive, that it would get eliminated. And sure enough, we don't see it here. I did notice that the survey, and I think they mentioned something about the survey for the first playtest packet, is still up. So they're taking feedback on that still. So it's not off the cards. It may well wind up being that might wind up being a variant rule that they offer in another book. Maybe that's the Dungeon Master's Guide, or maybe that is the, what do you call it? There's another book that sort of suggests that you're getting a smorgasbord banquet of all sorts of different things. So maybe it's possible that you will actually get variant rules, because there's been a big call for people to have the basic rule system, and then they want variant rules that they can tack on. And they've never really been able to play test variant rules for Dungeon Masters. Certainly it never happened in 2000 leading up to 2014 for D&D 5e during the D&D Next playtest. But now they've got an opportunity to actually play test all of these different rules and make them an option for Dungeon Masters to try out. That might well be what's going on here. Seeker, what do you got here? I see this is for 1D&D, AK 6E. Yes, exactly. I have heard of grognards laminating over old editions and naively thought never... Okay. Never thought it would happen to me. So a lot of the rules that they'll be presenting have probably been presented before. They're just, look, if anything, this will be testing the waters to see how the current player base responds. I think that's what you're dealing with, because you can be assured that every conceivable different rule that D&D has ever had has already been done. Okay, and there might be some slight variations at tables, but it's all been done before. Kyle, yeah, they mentioned in the Player's Handbook that they wanted to do the original critical hits for this test at the very least. Yeah. The overview video, that's on the Dungeons & Dragons website. Yeah, I think that's what I watched. That's the only thing I had time to. It's like, I'm asleep and like, oh, what's going on? My phone is going bananas. Okay, blind sight. If you have blind sight, you can effectively see within a specific range. Okay. I don't know if you can, is there anything? Moreover, you can't effectively see a hidden or invisible creature in that range. Okay. Well, all right. So what have they done here? If you have blind sight, you can effectively see within a specific range without relying on physical sight. Okay. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, all right, even if you're blind or in darkness. Okay, so total cover would be a problem. However, moreover, you can effectively see a hidden or an invisible creature in that range. Oh God, are they telling me they're having to clarify that because people aren't letting people notice that somebody is hiding in the bushes or something like that, or seeing an invisible creature with blind sight? And only total cover. I mean, that should be obvious, right? That total cover is going to be the only thing that would stop you with your blind sight. Good Lord. Okay. I don't even feel like this is worth mentioning. If they're having to clarify this is a bit silly. But I understand that it does happen. So let's have a look at what is climb speed. Climb speed can be used to move vertical. Yes, we know it's vertical. Extra movement normally. Climb speed is usually in a situation with your speed is usable. Some creatures have the climbs. Yes. Okay, so upside down and horizontal surfaces. Climbs. Spider climb. So they're talking about the spider climb feat. How is they needing? Why do they need to clarify spider climb? Is it not obvious that you can go vertically and horizontally on sodding surfaces? I mean, I'm starting to wonder a little bit. Okay, so you guys, if I'm starting to get a little silly or a bit like what the hell is going on here, you need to tell me, okay? Because I guess I've just woken up and I just don't understand why we need to worry about a lot of this stuff here. Hidden and invisible are new, clarified conditions. They're probably the reason for the clarification, maybe. Okay. But invisible and hidden have always existed. They weren't that easy to find in the player's handbook, but they have always existed. Unless, of course, they changed the criteria for being hidden and invisible. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's go through here. So climb, I'm not worrying about spider climb. I think this is just people who are just struggling with the wording, and yeah, there's been a few arguments probably. I don't think we need to talk about creature type. They've broken that down. I don't care about that in the slightest. I think they've talked about it just specifically around cure wound spell, specifies that heal doesn't work on constructs. Okay, well that's always kind of been there. Okay, that's fine. That's nothing new really. Okay, D20 test. The term D20 test encompasses the three main D20 rolls: the ability check, the attack roll, and saving throw. Why have they underlined ability check and attack roll? If something in the game affects a d20 test, it affects all 3 of these rolls. Right. Okay. So that would mean penalties, bonuses, advantage, disadvantage. What else are we dealing with? Rerolls. Okay. Is there anything new here? Whenever a player character rolls a 1 for a d20 test, the character gains heroic inspiration. Oh, I see what they've done here. Okay, all right. Heroic inspiration. We need to make a note of this. So you know how you were able to gain inspiration by rolling a 20-sided dice, like one of these little suckers here, and you would get inspiration, which meant you could roll a 20-sided dice to get advantage at a later date. But you had to roll a 20. So if you got a 20, then you had another roll that you could make later on, and you get advantage. Now, if you roll a 1 and you suck at your dice roll, you can now have heroic inspiration. The DEM determines whether a D20 test is warranted in any given circumstance. Here we go. So that wording there is to stop people thinking that you can, you have to roll a dice when something is super easy, right? And that means that if somebody should be able to be successful, then they can be successful because they don't have to roll a dice, and a 1 is not an automatic failure. Although I haven't seen any discussion around that. Or a D20 roll that has a 20 is not an automatic success. But I think that clarification is probably a good thing. It should have been obvious from the very get-go. But let's make a note of heroic inspiration. So if you're sucking at your roll, you get your inspiration by rolling a 1. So do people remember I did mention that I think with inspiration, the rules for inspiration on Dungeons & Dragons 5e should consist of the Dungeon Master decides when to award inspiration to a player's character. And then you just have a list of suggestions for a Dungeon Master, and they pick whatever the hell they like. I wonder if they're playtesting all of those different sort of things to see where it's going to come. Will we get just a smorgasbord for the Dungeon Master to say, if you bring me a beer, I'm going to give you inspiration. If you bring pizza and I get to eat it, you get inspiration. If you give me a foot massage, you can have inspiration. Maybe an inappropriate one. If you roll a 20, you can have inspiration. If you roll a 1, you can have inspiration. And the Dungeon Master just takes the things that they want. Or if you role play your character really well to your floor, you can have inspiration. Maybe that's what we're working towards. But there's been a lot of talk about this. So they are actually play testing this idea. Interesting. Inspiration, heroic inspiration, gained on rolling a 1 with a D20 test. Interesting. Well, that's something that sort of stands out, I would say, for sure. If something is underlined, it's because it's mentioned in its own sentence in the rules glossary. Okay, all right, that's okay. Thank you for that, Kyle. I appreciate that. Dash. The dash action allows you to make a bonus move during the current turn. What's new about this? This doesn't feel like it's new. It's an action. A bonus move during the current turn. Okay. Oh, maybe they're taking the dash action away from the ready action. Maybe that's what's going on here. I wonder if that's what's going on here. I mean, is it really going to make a big difference, though? I don't know that it will. Can you not just still ready? You should still be able to ready your movement to be able to do that. You were never able to ready a movement and a dash anyway. To get 60 feet if you moved 30 feet. So I don't see there being much change there. Okay. If a space is difficult terrain, every foot of movement and that costs 1 extra foot. Okay, so that's pretty much the same as it was before. Okay. Difficult terrain isn't cumulative. This has been something that probably has not been spelled out before. Let's just mark that down because that was a question that used to come up all the time. And I think that's actually a significant improvement. It eliminates a lot of the messiness. Either a space of difficult terrain or it isn't. Okay, a space. Okay, okay. So not cumulative. That is a good thing to add. Great. Creature that isn't tiny, furniture that is small, heavy snow. So they're giving you some examples here that we don't need to worry too much about. Ice. The DM may determine that other things count as difficult terrain based on the examples here. Okay, but it's not cumulative. Right, divine spells. I don't really want to read through all these things. This isn't really cool stuff. Oh, they've got the grappled condition here. Oh, it still exists. I was hoping they're going to get rid of that thing. Oh, well, anyway. We just need the restrained condition. Get rid of the grappled condition. Anyway, look, what else? While you are subjected to exhaustion condition, known in the older books as exhaustion, okay, you experience the following effects. Levels of exhaustion. This condition is cumulative. Each time you receive it, you gain 1 level of exhaustion. You die if you... Well, that's nothing new there. D20 rolls affected. When you make a D20 test, you are subject to exhaustion level to the D20 test roll. Okay, so it's going to now affect the test. If they change the table or something like that. Spell save DC affected. Subtract your exhaustion level from the spell saving DC of any spell you cast. This is different. Subject your exhaustion level. Okay. This is really This is complicated. Ending the condition. Finishing a long rest removes 1 level of exhaustion that always existed. When your exhaustion level is okay. All right. So they've made some changes to exhaustion, but they've got this exhausted condition. 8. So that actually just changed the thing. I'm going to have to pull that apart. I'll put a spanner to it and rip it apart a little bit. The thing that sort of stands out for me with that is spell save DCs. Spell save DCs. That is another level that we didn't really have to deal with before. Is this what I mean? Are we coming up to exhaustion? Is there an exhaustion condition in here? Should I say, is there the exhaustion levels in here? You've got the condition, I get that. But yeah, okay. Expertise. Expertise is a special feature that enhances your use of a particular skill proficiency. If you gain expertise, you gain it in one skill in which you have proficiency. Okay. You can never have expertise in the same skill proficiency more than once. Okay. When you make an ability check with a skill proficiency in which you have expertise, your proficiency bonus is doubled for that check. When you make an ability check with the skill proficiency, it's doubled. Yeah, there's nothing new there. Why are we talking about expertise at all? I don't understand. I don't see anything new. This isn't a table. It's easier now. It goes up to 10 levels of exhaustion. Does it? For each level, you subtract 1 from the D20 tests. Oh my God. Really, Kyle? Is that what they've done here? I see. Okay, yes. You see, that's right. Exhaustion level exceeds 10. There are 10 levels of exhaustion. That is so confusing. How difficult will that be to track? Will people use it? Frankly, I'd prefer to use the old exhaustion levels. I'm not sure I like that very much. There are a lot of changes. You're right. Lots of change. 1 to 10 levels. Good Lord. That is a lot of stuff to be messing with. Okay, all right, let's... see grapple here. I want to get to grapple. Fly speed. Fly speed you can use to move through the air. While you have a fly speed, you can stay aloft until you land, fall, or die. While flying, you fall if you are incapacitated or restrained. Well, that makes sense. If you have the hover trait, you can stay aloft even while incapacitated or... Oh, I see. Okay, now I understand why they've got fly speed in here. Because with the hover trait before, if you were incapacitated or restrained, you would fall like a rock. I'm pretty sure that was what was going on before. Okay, so fly speed. There's a lot of little changes here and there. This is going to make life very difficult for me. So hover, change, yep, with incapacitated and restrained. Okay. How the heck am I going to get through all of this? Look, I'm going to do my best to get through this. If people are still around, that's great. But good Lord, there's so much. And there's so many little changes. Gaming tools, game sets are a category of tool. One cost, 1 gold piece. So they made them, what, standard price across the board? Fine. Grapple. Let's have a look at grapple. The grappled condition. What have they done with this? Put a bulldozer through that thing. It means you don't have to have to reference a table. It's just 10 levels, and you take 1 from the D20 and the spell of each level of exhaustion. Yeah, I suppose that maybe that will be easier to remember. But anyway, let's have a look at grappled condition. Your speed is 0, and you can't change. Okay. Attacks affected. You have disadvantage on attack rolls with the grappled condition. Now didn't we have that before? I'm pretty sure that existed before. Against any target other than the grappler. Okay. Other than the grappler. Alright, there's a slight change there, I guess. The grappler can drag or carry you, but the grappler suffers the slowed condition. Okay. Escaping the grapple. Has this changed? While grappled, you can make a dexterity or a strength saving throw. I feel like somebody might have been watching my bloody video. Did they actually watch it? I wonder if they did. Against the grappler's escape DC at the end of each of your turns. Ending the condition on yourself on a success. The condition also ends if the grappler is incapacitated or something moves you outside the grappler's range. So this means escaping a grapple is done with a dexterity or a strength saving throw. I agree with this. I actually think that makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's mark that down. That's something I want to come back to. The grappled condition. I know a lot of people were quite married to the skill contest, but I think that's a better change. Okay, escape. I think that's the only significant change that I see here. Escape is dex or strength saving throw. So how do we determine the DC for the grappler? So against the grappler's escape DC at the end of each of your turn. So there must be some rules further on that talk about this. Correct? That would make sense. Guidance. Now, for those of you who are hoping I would talk about all of the other stuff at the front of this document, the stuff I find most interesting is the rules glossary, frankly. But that doesn't mean I won't look at the other stuff. Okay? I just might be a bit quicker about it. Guidance. I think I'm going to be here for longer than 2 hours, people. So get some food and some drink. I've got a Dungeon Master Roundtable in about 2 hours. So I'm here for the long haul as I break this down. Here we go. Guidance. A good spell. Casting time is a reaction, which you take in response to you or an ally within 30 feet of you failing an ability check. Oh, really? You channel magical insight into a failed ability check. That creature can roll a d20 and add the number sort of check, potentially turning it into a success. Once a creature rolls the die for the spell, that creature can't benefit from the spell. So you can't spam. You can't spam guidance. How's it going, Spirit Wolf? If you haven't figured it out, I feel like I'm going to be here a long time. There's a lot of things here that have changed, which kind of a shock to me. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. Let's make a little note here for guidance, for when Fred has to actually break it all down and analyze. I'm going to have to say a lot. I mean, obviously, when I do this, I'm probably going to say a lot more than I am right now. Okay, right now, off the top of my head. So guidance is a reaction. That I wasn't expecting. It's still an ability check or a skill check, so that doesn't change anything. But you can't spam it. Can't spam. Can't spam on same character. I guess maybe that just annoyed some dungeon masters. I didn't really mind it that much myself, but maybe that's just what's going on here. And of course, making guidance something you do as a reaction kind of opens you completely up, doesn't it? Because now you don't have to use guidance as an action, and there aren't that many reaction spells anyway, and now guidance is a reaction. Can't spam on same character. One use. I mean, you can use it on a different character, but yeah, that's it. Otherwise, you could take a long rest. Poor, blimey. How's it going, Seeker? You're still with me. Okay. Your guidance is now a reaction, and you can't spam it because they only get the benefit from it once. I'm really quite surprised. Can't just be a cleric in the back yelling guidance. Yeah, I think that was probably what pissed off dungeon masters when players were doing that. The help action. What is the help action? There's a lot here on the help action. This is going to be very difficult for me, people. How the hell am I supposed to talk about this stuff in one live stream? I don't even know how that's even going to be possible. Oh, you're trying to hit Spirit Wolf? Okay, all right. If you hit Spirit Wolf, cool. Long as it's a consensual hitting. Okay. It's going to be a reaction also because the other person doesn't need to keep track of it. I suppose that makes sense, yeah. Yes, I suppose it is. It's like I am a dwarf stuck in a vein of gold. I don't really get caught up on rules too much. But I know that my channel has been built on rules. You know, I did a lot of rules videos when I started out. And that's what people kind of expect from me. But let's have a look at what we've got here. All I want is the game to be simpler, frankly. Okay, help action. When you take the help action, you can do one of the following. Assist an ability check. Assist an attack roll. How is that any different to what we had before? Can somebody clarify with me? Like, is there... yeah, but I don't want to do Unearthed Arcana for weeks on end. I don't want to do that. That's not my idea of fun. It would require a lot of people. If I do it the first time round and I get through certain stuff and people are like, yeah, we'll love this. And when there's like 1,000 views and everybody seems to want more of it and there's lots of comments going all over the place, then maybe I'll consider it. What's different here? The help action. You get advantage on the next ability check it makes to perform a task you are helping with, provided you make Alternatively, you can aid a friendly creature with an attack within 5 feet. And so, this looks the same to me. Assist an ability check. Choose one of your skill proficiencies. Oh, I see. And one ally who can see or hear you, you have advantage on the next ability check that ally makes with a chosen skill. This benefit expires if the ally doesn't use it before the start of your next turn. Okay, this gives, which has always been there, To give this assistance, you must be near enough to the ally to assist verbally or physically with the ally making the check. The DM has final say on whether the assist is possible, which, frankly, DMs were doing before anyway. One ally who can see or hear you. Is that the new bit? It is really? Help action. I didn't notice that. Is the word hear or see actually important now? Well, I believe 5 feet was always a factor. Is that really the case? Is that really what we're looking at here? You momentarily distract an enemy. This is the attack one. Assist an attack roll. Within 5 feet of you, granting advantage on the next attack roll by one of your allies against that enemy. By one of your allies. Okay, this benefit expires at the start of your next turn. I think in the past you had to specify who you were assisting, or a lot of Dungeon Masters required that. So now it could be any one of your allies as long as it's against that enemy. I think that's what we're going here with. Alternatively, you can do one creature make an attack within 5 feet of you. Okay, so there's no... Okay, fear to distract it, if your ally makes an attack before the next turn or something. Okay, so there is a slight difference in the wording, isn't there? Granting advantage for the next 12 for one of your allies. So it doesn't need to be, because what they'd stated here is it had to be a friendly ally that you needed to be next to assist them. Now it's stating that you need to be 5 feet from the enemy. Okay, so that's the difference. I'm assuming that's what we're talking about here. And then the help action, there is a slight change in the help action with regard to ability checks. Verbal or physical? Does it really actually say anything about that here at all? It says nothing about verbal, so it's more of a clarification. Okay. But also too, it says that you choose one of your skill proficiencies. I don't know that that necessarily means you need to be proficient. Okay, so it's really a very minor adjustment. It's a pretty minor adjustment. If anything, pretty... I wouldn't even say it's even worth mentioning too much, really. Okay, so it's verbal or physical. Physically, so hear, see, and see. Okay, so that's what's going on there, and then you need to be 5 feet, 5 feet from enemy, not ally. That's the change. Okay, I get it. Am I going to have enough pieces of paper here? This is one of those times where I feel like, oh God, is there going to be enough? That isn't going to work. It isn't going to work. Okay, so let's turn this piece of paper over. Let's start again. Heroic inspiration. Really? Explicitly restrictive here, possibly. Yep. I'll have to learn this because I love chess. Help action with my familiar L. Yeah, I guess so. Like, okay, so let's go down. Heroic inspiration. And inspiration is one of those things. Let's see if what they've done here, because that really annoyed the hell out of people, didn't it? Didn't people get really upset about that? I'm pretty sure they did. Heroic inspiration. When you have inspiration, heroic inspiration, also called inspiration, okay, they're just calling it heroic inspiration. Actually, this is a good thing to do because we have bardic inspiration and then we have inspiration. It used to get confusing. So now if we designate heroic inspiration as different from bardic inspiration, hopefully no confusion. No guarantee, but that's maybe what's going on here. You can expend it to give yourself advantage. Oh, on a D20 test. Didn't you used to be able to give it to somebody else as well? You decide to do so immediately after rolling the D20. You decide to do so immediately after rolling a d20. Okay, so you can roll a d20 and then make the decision if you're going to use your inspiration, which we've always done before in the past and at my table. Gaining heroic inspiration. I feel like there's a change there, isn't there? Doesn't there feel like a change to inspiration? I feel like there is. Like there's definitely seems like there is an adjustment. Inspiration. What page is inspiration on? Because didn't you used to be able to give it to somebody else? Inspiration. Speed, time, pace, blah, 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 blah. It's probably going to be somewhere I can't find easily and quickly. That would be my guess. All right, let's look in the index of Player's Handbook. Inspiration. I feel like there is definitely an adjustment there. Inspiration. Come on. Inspiration. Page 125. 125. I apologize if you're waiting for me to flip through pages. But inspiration. Here's the rule. Using inspiration. If you have inspiration, this is from the old book. You can expend it when you make an attack roll, a saving throw, or an ability check. Well, D20 test cost covers all of that anyway. Spending your inspiration gives you advantage on that roll. Additionally, if you have inspiration, you can reward another player for good role playing. Role playing, clever thinking, or something. Da da da. Yes, whenever another player character does something that really contributes to the game. Da da da. Inspiration. That actually doesn't really talk about using it though. Gaining inspiration. Okay. So no, it doesn't. That's just a house rule. That's what I've been doing at my table. Like other people can use somebody else's inspiration, and that was probably part of the old play test, wasn't it? Okay. So heroic inspiration. Let me just get this down. 12, 13. So if I seem a little confused, as now I'm dealing with current rules, playtest rules, and then another packet of playtest rules, which can only lead to more confusion. Okay, so what is the outstanding thing with this that we need to actually break apart? It hasn't really changed in terms of how you use it. That's all pretty much the same. Okay, right. Gaining heroic inspiration. A player character gains heroic inspiration if the character rolls a 1 for a d20 test. Okay. We kind of already knew this. So roll 1 on d20 test to get it. How else? That 1 must be on the d20 used for the test's total, not a d20 test that was re-rolled or discarded. Now, what does that mean? That 1 must be on the d20 test used for the test's total. Okay. Not on a d20 that was re-rolled or discarded. I see. Okay. This is to stop people from having disadvantage and advantage in rolling a 1 and saying, okay, I rolled a 1, but I'm not actually using that 1, and I get inspiration, and I can now stockpile that for later on. I think that's what's going on here. This heroic inspiration represents a character's resolve to do better after fumbling an attempt. The DM can also award heroic inspiration to a player character who's done something that is particularly heroic or in character, which is I think that's the key thing we need to take away from this is Dungeon Master awards heroic inspiration for whatever the heck they decide is appropriate. But the clarification is you really can't go inspiration fishing. Basically, that's what it is, eh? No And because they were talking about being able to do that with a roll of 20, get inspiration. The more 20s you roll, the more inspiration you get. So you can't do that if you wind up rolling a lot of ones. Inspiration. No inspiration fishing. I think that's a good thing. I think that's very sensible. I'm happy with that. Okay, so only one at a time. You can never have more than one instance of heroic inspiration. We've always had this. If someone gives you heroic inspiration, and you already have it, you can give heroic inspiration to a player character in your group who lacks it. Okay, so you can give it to somebody else. Did they actually state that in the... does something that really computes the story in a fun, interesting way. You can give your inspiration to... Okay, so you've always been able to give inspiration to somebody else. It's just often a paragraph that gets forgotten or assumed it's talking about the dungeon master, because a player can give inspiration to somebody else. That's always been there. So that's nothing new. We don't need to talk about that. Right, what else we got here? Hidden condition. Oh my God. Alimi, alone, hello. Alimi alone. Sincere. Look, you're welcome. Look, if somebody wants me to talk about some particular part of the play test, then go for it. But I'm just going through what I find interesting, frankly. And yeah, I think at some point I'm going to have to walk away from the rules glossary because there's so much here to deal with. Hidden, hide action. They've actually made a condition called hidden. Thank God for that, because that caused a lot of hassles. While you are hidden, you experience the following effects. You aren't affected by any effect that requires its target to see you. Okay, so hang on, concealed. You aren't affected by any effect that requires its target to see you. What does that mean? I'm not sure. If you're hidden when you roll initiative, you have advantage on the roll. Okay, so they're giving you advantage on the initiative roll. Okay, all right, interesting. That's new. That's a pen that just died. Let's grab a different pen. As I said, if there's something you want me to talk about specifically, you'll need to call it out. Otherwise, I'm just going to go through here and look at the things that have stood out for me. Okay, so you get advantage on initiative. That's new for sure, but then again the condition is too. Okay, attack effects. Attack rolls against you have disadvantage because you can't be seen, and your attack rolls have advantage. Well, that's always kind of been there. It's just spelled into the condition itself. Ending the condition. The condition ends on you immediately after any of the following occurs. This is important. You make a sound louder than a whisper. Basically means if you move at all, you're screwed. Yep. And an enemy finds you. Well, that would be obvious. So they walk into you. Poof, you're found. You make an attack roll. Obviously, that's always been there. You cast a spell with a verbal component. Okay, so that's specified. So it could be a somatic and material component, but you're still all right. Or you aren't heavily obscured or behind any cover. So it's stipulated you have to be using either heavy obscurity or behind some cover. And it hasn't stipulated whether that's half cover or 3/4 cover. So that means potentially you can be hidden and use half cover, 3/4 cover, heavy obscurity. That's good. Okay, so we've actually got something going on there. Okay, so here we go. Let me just make a note of this. Condition defined, basically. I mean, I always understood what was going on here when they talked about hidden, but it took a long time for me to grasp. You aren't affected by any effect that requires its target to see you. Okay. Concealed. So I'm assuming, because hidden has always been you can't be seen and you can't be heard. which is different to being to hide, which is basically you're not seen. That's my understanding. So let's just go here. You just said something here. What do you got here? So spells that have target of sight. Yeah, so if you have a spell or an attack that requires line of sight, it's not going to work. So if they know you are there, yet they can't see you. Yes, I suppose that's what we're talking about. I guess that maybe that's caused some problems at some tables. That's not caused problems at my tables, but anyway. Hide action. With the hide action, you try to conceal yourself. To do so, you must make a DC 15 dexterity stealth check while you're in heavy obscurity or behind 3/4 cover or total cover. Okay, so this is actually now saying that you can't use half cover, and you must be out of the visible enemy's line of sight. If you can see a creature, you can discern whether you see. Okay, if you can see a creature, you can discern whether it can see you. Okay, so you know if somebody has seen you or not. On a successful check, you are hidden. Okay, make a note of your check total, which becomes the DC for your creature to find you with a wisdom perception check. This is very complicated, but then hiding and stealth and so forth always has been a blimey. Why DC 15? Okay, so here we go. Hide. Hide is a bit more refined. Hide action. So you can only hide in 3/4 cover, total cover, heavy obscurity, so my mention of half cover may not come into play because I'm assuming that this means maybe it's just maybe this is just not well spelled out, because this is play test material, right? Maybe that's what's going on. Okay, so the hide action is more defined in terms of how it works. 3/4 cover, total cover, heavy obscurity, no line of sight, and then a DC that's as confusing as anything. DC confusion. That's what I'm putting down. Incapacitated. Okay, I'm going to look at incapacitated, and then I'm going to go to the front of the document. Okay, because I could easily spend a lot of time on this, and it's quite clear to me that there are a lot of changes here. Incapacitated. While you are incapacitated, you experience the following effects. You can't take actions or reactions. They didn't say anything about bonus actions, though. Why is that? Does bonus actions get included in this? Are we going to stipulate you can't take a bonus action? Please just do that. Your concentration is broken. No concentration if incapacitated. Well, that has always been. Can't speak. That was there before. If you are incapacitated when you roll initiative, you have disadvantage on the roll. I don't understand why you even get to roll initiative. You should just go straight to the bottom. I don't feel like this is just a clarification. What I will do is I will go on a note here. Incapacitated condition. Why no mention of the bonus action? Well, if we're going to mention reactions and actions, we might as well just say bonus action as well, right? I don't think the intention is to allow you to use your bonus action while you're incapacitated. So, hello, Pale Rider. History repeats itself. This sort of reminds me of going from D&D to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, a lot of this is like, it's not like it's going to be new stuff. Is this for AD&D? I think a lot of this may well wind. I mean, yeah, I get the impression they're building a game system that's for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, if you like what you're seeing. Okay, all right. So I kind of got to the page influence. I don't know what that's all about. I'm not going to go reading it. This is going to take me too long. I'm going to have this quick scroll through here to see invisible condition. Oh God, that'll be an interesting one to read. Jumping, nobody ever uses it. Light weapons, moving around creatures, ritual casting, climbing speed, slow condition, musical instruments, tremor sense, unarmed strikes. Oh, there it is. This is actually, okay. So I promised I would go to the front of the document, but I won't look at anything else, but I want to look at unarmed strikes, because what they did with unarmed strikes was interesting, but I felt like it was the wrong way to go about doing it. So let's have a look at unarmed strikes. I'm going to put this down the bottom here. Oh, this is going to be a problem for me. I can see this right now. Unarmed strikes, because unarmed strikes was you could do damage, you could grapple, or you could shove, right? And unarmed strikes is melee spell. We've gone through this before. Within your reach, your bonus to hit with the unarmed strike equals your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Okay, that's always been the case, really. On a hit, your unarmed strike causes one of the following effects: damage. So 1 plus your strength modifier. Always been that. Fine. Grapple. Okay. Let's bring this up here. The target is grappled, so you can choose to grapple, and the grapple's escape DC is 8 plus your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Okay, so you're making an attack roll, and the escape DC is your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus plus 8. This grapple is possible only if the target is no more than one size larger than you, and if you have a hand free to grab the target. The only problem with this, I see, is if you've ever been involved in any kind of grappling and throwing and so forth, you will be aware that there are a couple of things that come into play when grappling. Now, we can't duplicate real life in every sense, but since I've done a lot of it, I did actually wind up being a 3rd Dan black belt. You'll find that strength is an aspect of grappling for sure, but so is speed. Dexterity is actually very important, and not just escaping, but also putting on that grapple. And then skill, like skill, strength, and dexterity. I've seen many women or lighter individuals who aren't women, who are just smaller but faster but weaker, and they've been able to put a grapple onto somebody. And so I don't think that duplicates that quite the way I would have preferred. For me, I would have gone with DC should be 8 plus your dexterity modifier or your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus. That would be the DC I would want to set. And to put it on in the first place, I would like to see the ability to use your strength or dexterity with the attack roll to put on the grapple. Proficiency plus, so your not just your strength, but your dexterity or your strength. Because actually speed and unarmed strikes actually probably more important than strength. So I think it should be one or the other. I think that's actually what we're going to have to say here. Attack should be, now this is my assessment of this, should be dex or strength. I can't count the number of times that I've been hit by somebody who was faster than me, even if I was stronger. And then the escape DC. Escape DC, I think it should be, has a formula. I think that it should apply to there as well. Dex or strength. I think then if you got that, you have actually done a pretty good job. Now, shove. You either push the target 5 feet away or knock the target prone. Great. This shove is possible only if... So this has not changed. Okay, all right. I promised I would go to the front of the document. I'm going to do that. Let me have a look at the chat. And as I am scrolling through... okay, so question is... Can you be hidden behind another player? No, because it's only half cover. If you are small and they are medium, I think it's still going to only count as half cover. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I am behind on the stream as well. Don't you worry. I would think you could, as long as the character being hidden behind the cloak. Low light would be my take. Let's see what's here. Yeah. So I don't think they have allowed for a... I'm going to have to just grab the bar. That's not going to work. Okay. Expert classes. Yeah. How and or why did they get the change instead of contest? I think primarily because it used to confuse people when they were making a contest, because you had to always get greater than rather than equal to or greater than. It was actually a different way of operating. I think we're getting closer to where we need to be. I actually think an unarmed strike should be dex or strength. Okay, and then add your proficiency bonus. And frankly, if I ever do when it comes around to doing being a dungeon master, I might actually just incorporate that as a home rule, a house rule of my own, just because I know it makes far more sense. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got here. We've got expert stuff. So we've got feats. Oh God. We've got spells. There's a lot of stuff. We've got a rules glossary, and then we've got a whole lot of other stuff. Power level, feedback, how to play test. So there's going to be a primary ability class. Okay, so experts, mages. So mages are going to be sorcerers, warlocks, wizards. We'll see that in the future, I suppose. Cleric, druid, paladin, priests, warriors. Okay, so they're breaking it up. They were always kind of like this in the first place. That's fine. I don't think that's anything new. Let's see something that's shocking. Shock me, people. Shock me. Primary ability, charisma course. We don't need to know any of that. There's nothing new there. Is there anything new on this bard? Is there anything new on this bard here? 3 musical instruments of your choice. Did you get 3 musical instruments before? Okay, bard. Bard. I'm not going to run out of space. Let's have a look at the bard here. Okay. Scrot there. And then flicking through to... How many musical instruments did you used to get? You get 3 skills. 3 musical instruments of your choice. You always got that before, so that's nothing new. How many skills do you get? Skills, deception, performance, persuasion, or any 3 of your choice. Okay, so they've given you a recommendation, and then they've said any 3 of your choice if you're a bard. Well, that's no different to what it was before. So there's nothing special about that. Boring. Moving on. Starting equipment, we kind of already seen all that sort of stuff. Oh, what? At first level, you start with the following equipment. You can forego it and spend 100 gold pieces on equipment of your choice. Okay, so the starting equipment is, I think that's slightly different, starting equipment. Yeah, all right. So you either get this stuff. Is it very different from what it was before? It's very specific. I wouldn't say that it's that different though. So you're going to wind up with at least 4 musical instruments. Nice. Okay. Leather. Yes. That dagger. Yes, has always been there. Diplomat's pack. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So that's fine. It's not that different to what it was before. Multiclassing and barding. What? Multiclassing? Where's this? I don't see this in the player's handbook. Okay, what do we got here? Multiclassing and barding. If your group uses the multiclassing rules in the player's handbook, here's what you need to know if you choose bard as one of your classes. Ability score minimum. Oh dear. As a multi-class character, you must have a score of at least 13 in the bard's primary ability, charisma, to take a level in this class, or to take a level in another class if you are already a bard. Okay. So 13. It sounds to me that you won't be multi-classing unless you have a 13 in its primary ability score. So they are putting a restriction on multi-classing because, of course, multi-classing used to get a bit silly at times. Okay, multi-classing changed there. But that goes across the board, doesn't it? Multi-classing, I suspect it will. Multi-classing, restrict to 13 in ability score. Well, that's the primary, isn't it? Primary. Okay. If Bard isn't your initial class, here are the prerequisites you gain when you... Okay, so they have not. You don't get everything. You take the one skill of your choice and one musical instrument of your choice. Armor training when you gain. Okay, all right. Spell slots. Add all the. Okay, all right. So there's actually quite a lot of restrictions with regard to multi-classing, which I suspect I'm going to see in other multi-classing. As you know, there's probably going to be a section on multi-classing for every class. Okay, what else we got here? First level bardic inspiration. What have they done here? You can supernaturally inspire others through words, music, or dance. This inspiration is represented by your bardic inspiration die, which is a D6. Yeah. Don't really feel like that was different. Okay. You've got to be within 60 feet. Using bardic inspiration. You can use your bardic inspiration to die in the following ways. Boost a D20 test. Was that any difference than before? Ability check, attack roll, or saving throw? No, it's the same thing. You can use your reaction to give the creature a bardic inspiration die. Was there a stipulation before? I don't think there was. Oh, okay. There was no mention of reactions. Okay, so that's what's going on here. I think that is what's going on here. All right, let me just make a note of that. Bardic inspiration. 2. Far too much to deal with. But that's certainly a standout thing. Bardic inspiration. Number of uses. Well, you got certain number, didn't you? And then what? Bardic inspiration die is expended when you roll. When it's rolled, you can for a bardic inspiration die a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you can regain all expended uses with a long rest. At higher levels, okay. Feature number of times equal to your charisma. Okay, so it's gone proficiency bonus, not charisma modifier. Okay, didn't see that. I suppose I should have guessed that was going to happen. Is the adjustment in terms of the level going to be different? 8, it's level 5, yes. 10, yes, that's the same. Level 15, that's all the same. So, number of uses, healing. Immediately after another creature within 60 feet of you that you see takes, you see here it takes damage, you can use your reaction to roll your bardic inspiration die and restore a number of hit points to the creature equal to a number rolled. Did I see that be there before? Bardic inspiration now heals. Is that my imagination? No, it's not. Bardic inspiration. 1. It's now a reaction. It doesn't look like it was a reaction before. Okay, use a bonus action. Bonus action. It's a bonus action to a reaction. Bonus action to a reaction. They're really trying. I wonder if if they keep doing this and we get rid of those bloody bonus actions, I'll be happy. What else is there? Okay, so that's right. You can heal with it. is new. And what else can you do with this? You can, it's used in, number of uses. Uses is proficiency, bonus, not charisma, bonus, or modifier. Well, okay, all right. Well, that's a lot of change for just the bard, frankly. That I was not expecting. Okay, well, that's that bit. Let's go down here. Preparing spells. Is there anything of note that I really give a toss about here? Okay, prepared spells. You have the following spells prepared. You have to learn to cast spells free. Yeah, whatever. You have the following spells. Color spray. Alternative, you can prepare it. Okay. 2 0 level spells and 1. Okay, so they're giving you a pre-setup. We kind of had that before. It must be arcane. Okay, all right. They're designating the list, and they're giving you the schools of magic. Okay, finish a long rest. You can replace the spell list. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. I think we've got the gist of that. That's all pretty much the same. I don't think that's changed that much. I really don't think there's very much spell casting focus. Has that even changed at all? Spell casting. Okay, musical instrument. No, that's all pretty much the same. Expertise. You gain expertise in 2 of your skill proficiencies of your choice. Performance and persuasion are iconic choices for a bard. If you have proficiency in them. Okay, all right. What else have we got here? Expertise. It had expertise, didn't it? It did. Is expertise different? When do you get expertise now? Expertise is level 2. Expertise was level 3. You get it sooner. Ah, okay. 3, bard expertise. Expertise is level 2, not 3. I don't actually mind that much. That's actually fine with me. Hi Fendar. Fendar is a patron, supports me doing stuff on YouTube. All of the classes I run during the week, that's what Fendar contributes to. How's it going? Well, now every caster prepares spells. I hate that that's a thing. I don't like that at all. But anyway, so they've definitely made some adjustments to expertise. I don't think that it was. I mean, is it that much of a change there? I don't think it's huge. Spellcasting. In addition, if a creature rolls your bardic inspiration die and gets a 1 on a roll, use bardic inspiration isn't spent. Where did this come from? Oh, this is that one there. Okay, all right. Feat. You gain the ability score improvement feat, or is there an ability score improvement feat? Where the hell did that come from? Okay, all right. So this is this is a little bit of a shock to my system. There's rather a lot to unpack here. Songs of Restoration. Songs of Restoration's new. Okay, well that's not... Huh? What is going on here? Okay. Songs of Restoration. Is that just the spell list? I don't get it. Maybe that's the spell list. Like that's what you get. Yeah, that's it. You get a whole lot of spells. Healing word, lesser restoration, mass healing word, freedom of movement, greater restoration. Holy, the big babies. Okay, they're not mucking around, are they? All right, that's fine. More spells, I guess, basically. You always have these spells prepared. Oh, seriously? You don't have to prepare them? No preparing. Preparing from table. Extra spells. So you wouldn't bother. I guess that's a big thing. They are basically free spells, extra spells, and they don't have to prepare them, which is like, okay, all right. Third level, Bardic subclass. Okay, as you pick your Bardic subclass. Moving on, you get a feat. Are they doing this with everything? Now ability score improvements are a feat. 5. Feat at level 4. Question mark. I don't know what. I need to know more about that. You can add half your proficiency bonus. This is Jack of all trades. Round it down to any ability check you make that uses skill proficiency you lack and that doesn't otherwise use your proficiency bonus. Okay. All right. For example, if you don't, okay. So I don't think that's actually that much different to what it was. Oh no, there's a lot more. What have they done here? I don't understand. I'm going to have to look at this later on because I'm looking at I'm just, it doesn't look different, but maybe I'm wrong. Don't worry about that. Font of Bardic Inspiration. Looks like Font of Bardic Inspiration has changed, and is it the 1? It is. Font of Bardic Inspiration. Font of Bardic Inspiration. So that means that when you can now regain all of your expended uses of Bardic Inspiration when you finish a short or long rest. In addition, if a creature rolls Bardic Inspiration die and gets a 1 after any rerolls you might have, that use of Bardic Inspiration isn't expended. Okay, so they're really trying to we don't want you to suck at using your Bardic Inspiration. Okay, I get what they're doing here. It does make a character significantly more powerful. Inspiration. Nothing. It's the same. Yeah, it looks very similar, but I think that the only thing is now with Bardic, the Font of Inspiration is that you're going to get to keep it if somebody rolls a 1. Keep it if a 1 is rolled. Okay. Right. Whole feat. Okay, level 8. Okay, so that's level 8 as well. And same sort of thing. Either you take the ability score improvement feat or whatever other feat. Expertise. You gain expertise in 2 of your skill proficiencies of your choice. Okay, so you're going to get that a couple times. That's a 9th level rather than 3rd level. What's going on here? So they're giving it to you at 9th level, not 10th level. Bracket 9th, not 10th. That's a bit of a boost, isn't it? Subclass feature, don't worry about that. Magical secrets, God, do I really care about that thing? I don't really. I mean, I suppose I should. Yeah, I meant that the Jack of all trades feature. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's any different. Magical secrets, arcane, primal, whenever you prepare the spells. Kind of looks pretty much the same to me. Feats, If I'm wrong and magical secrets has changed, then hopefully I'll pick it up. Further magical secrets. What? Magical secrets is level 10. And magical secrets is now level 11. Okay, so they've changed when you get it. and they changed it when you get it later on. Well, this is going to require me to unpack a few things, I think. And then Superior Bardic Inspiration is level 18. 19 is a feat. Really? And then 20, Epic Boon. Epic Boon? Epic Boon or Luck Feat or another epic feat of your choice. Shit. Okay. All right. So let me just make a note of this because this looks like this is important. So you get superior bardic inspiration. Inspiration. Come on. Can I even spell now? Probably not. Inspiration at level 18, not 20. And it looks like you get an epic boon. Epic boon at level 20. I mean, no, most people are never going to use these things because how many people get to level 20? So, given that they have stipulated, now, when are you getting these feats? 4, 8, 12, 12, where else? You get another one? 12, 16, 16, and then what else after that? So is that a change? It looks like it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They've given you an extra one, and you get one at 19 as well. So that means you're going to get more feats or more ability score improvements than you had before. That's quite a bit. I'm not going to look through the list of spells for the bard because I just don't have time, and yeah, this is rather a huge. The subclasses, I'm not even going to look at that. What I want to do is I do want to go and have a piss. Okay, so I'm not going to go for very long, but I'm going to put up my taking a break, and I'm going to come back. And yes, unfortunately, I'm going to talk more about and have a look more at this because this is quite a lot of stuff. All right, I'm coming back. Oh, it's more like 2 hour break time. I've been going for 2 hours. It is not 1 hour, I can assure you. All right, so let us cycle back to the window that we need to actually be on. And display capture, and then back to my screen. The Ranger. I'm quite excited to see what they do with the Ranger, frankly. Yeah. Hi, Pat Sherwood. Pat Sherwood is a patron, by the way, for those of you who don't know. Also supports the channel so I can keep doing the stuff that I'm doing here. Right, so, Ranger. What are we going to make a note of here? Ranger. Let's have a look. Well, none of that looks like it's any different to what it was before, frankly. It all looks pretty standard. Nothing surprising there. Let us go to, where is the Ranger in this book here? My player's handbook is out as well. So our proficiencies for our saving throws are the same. I don't think our skills have changed much. What do you get? You choose 3. What did you get before? You got 3, and they give you a list. So they've given you some suggestions, and then they've given you the whole list, and you just pick whatever you want. Fine, cool, love it. They're trying to cater to those people who are starting out. I guess that's what they're trying to do. Constitution's all the same, so that's nothing surprising here. What's that? What did I just see there? Is that expertise on a Ranger? At level 1. They gave expertise to a Ranger on level 1. You have to go, no problems. Thank you for hanging out with me. I know it's been a long, drawn out, like 2 hours, and we're still into this. I'm going to have to figure out how to condense all this stuff into notes, because right now I'm just looking through stuff. They just gave the Ranger expertise at level 1. Are you shitting me? Expertise. What does that expertise look like? Expertise at level 1. What else have they done here? Spellcasting at level 1. What? Really? Okay, alright. Natural Explorer? Where did Natural Explorer go? No, I don't see it anywhere. It's vanished. It's vanished. People, Natural Explorer disappeared. Why is that? What was wrong with Natural Explorer? I actually liked Natural Explorer. I actually thought that was one of the things that made the Ranger actually really good. Okay, so let's have a look here. We have none of the armor stuff has actually changed. That's the same. We've got a... Why does the Ranger get 150 gold pieces and the Bard only gets 100? Really? Is that how we work? Is that how we treat the poor Bard? Like, you're a second-class citizen, baby. we don't like the Bard, apparently. Oh, come on. But we love the Ranger. Let's give them another 50 gold pieces because we shat all over them last time. Expertise. You gain expertise in 2 skills of your choice. Stealth and survival are connected on. Wow. 2 skills. You're going to have a lot of skills, baby. Like, from the skills you get from your background and the skills you get from your class and the skills you get for being having expertise as a Ranger, there's going to be a lot of skills on your list that you're proficient with. So that's new. That's a bit of a surprise. They're talking about multi-classing. Do they have the same 13? Yes, they do. So they do have similar sort of restrictions on how the Ranger multi-classes. So multi-class restrictions, 13, etc. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. That's interesting. Range of features, favored enemy. I don't understand what's going on here. Am I losing my mind, people? Frankly, I don't understand what have they done? Favored enemy. First level. You are apt at focusing your ire on a single foe. You always have the Hunter's Mark spell prepared. Really? Shit. Mate, they keep making all these player character options a lot stronger. I mean, it's playtest material. It might get changed. But that's a big deal. Hardness mark spell prepared, and it doesn't count against the number of spells you can prepare. Oh, really? However, you don't have to concentrate on the spell once you don't? Don't? Really? And it lasts its full duration until you end it as a bonus action or until you are incapacitated. I feel like I got hit by an anvil. Are you serious? So you pick. So instead of picking two races, you pick a single foe. Well, that's interesting. 3. Favoured enemy. Favoured enemy. Who would have guessed? Favoured enemy. So you get 1 enemy. Not 2. And you get Hunter's Mark. Mark spell boost. That boost is pretty significant too. Blimey. I can't believe that you don't have to concentrate on it. You don't have to prepare it. It lasts for the full duration, and you can end it as a bonus action or until you're not going to end it. You're just going to keep it up. It would be silly to do so. I mean, don't ever do that, people. Okay. Yeah, I suppose you could say that they're kind of doing that. What's this? The Divas clearly haven't brought a brand new musical instrument recently. Yeah, musical instruments apparently very cheap. So this is, but I'm perplexed. Natural Explorer. What happened to Natural Explorer? Is it gone completely? Where's on the list? Nature's Veil. Natural Explorer. It's gone. There's no more Natural Explorer. That is a big change. Oh. Man, I like Natural Explorer. It's 4. I know a lot of people saw it and said, it's not combat, so it's no good to me. But good Lord. Personally, I think they should have gone further with Natural Explorer. Done a lot more. Natural Explorer. Gone. Gone, baby. They just, it's done. It's done its dash. I can't believe that they did that. Spell casting at level 1. 5. Spell casting at level 1 and not level 2. Not 2. That's a big jump. I'm not even going to look at the preparing. The section is going to drive me nuts, okay, like everybody. I'm assuming it's pretty much the same. Let's just assume it is, okay. Fighting styles. Fighting styles, have they changed? No, I feel like they're pretty much the same sort of stuff here. You can hone it on, you can gain on your year's feats. Fighting style feats of your choice. Are they now fight? So they've turned the things that were just listed as something. They've turned them into feats. Okay, even. Right. Sure. Fighting style is now feats. Sure, that makes sense. Fighting styles are now feats. Of course it is. We're doubling down on feats. Ranger subclass. Well, we kind of got a Ranger subclass at level 3 anyway. Feats, level 4. Extra attack, same as before. Subclass feature. Really? Subclass feature, level 6? No, it's level 7, so you're getting it sooner. Okay. Roving. What is roving? Your speed increases by 10 feet while you are wearing heavy armor. While you what? Well, you aren't wearing heavy armor. You can also have a climb speed and a swimming speed. Rover? I don't remember Rover. Is this new? This is new. Okay. Okay. Sorry, people. There's a lot to pick apart here, and so I'm doing my best to sort of like figure out. I'm not against the roving idea. Okay. The ranger having roving makes perfect sense. Happy. Okay, and it's frankly, I don't think it's going to make that much difference in combat, so I don't think it's going to unbalance your combat and make more work for you. I think that's fine. Roving at level 7. So you get 10 feet more, and you get climb speed and swim speed. Nice. The sort of things that a ranger should have. It's from Tasha's, so they're just porting all that stuff over. This is a pretty big update, Pat. I mean, I totally understand if you guys are going to bug out. Feats look like the feats are in essentially the same place. Expertise? What I mean? What's this? Expertise. It's a ranger, right? We're talking about a ranger, correct? Level 8. Didn't they have something? They already have expertise, but they get it at level 1 and level 9. Okay, it's the level 1 and 9. Was that the same for the bard with expertise? 9, not 10. Okay, so they've given you expertise, which you didn't have before. You get it at level 9, and you get it at level 1 and 9. You get 2 of them. You get to choose them. Makes sense. It's a ranger. I agree. Do that. That's fine. What else? Tireless. What is tireless? What is tireless? Tireless. Primary forces now help you fuel you on your journey, granting you the following benefits. Temporary hit points. Oh, God. Here we go. Whenever you finish a long or short rest, you can give yourself a number of hit points equal to 1d. Okay, all right. So tireless is is temporary hit points, decrease exhaustion. If you are exhausted when you finish a short rest. Okay, all right. So the second part of tireless, I'm fine with. I don't know that I give a toss about the temporary hit points. I know it's great if you're in combat, but shit, like it's a ranger. Okay, exploration and combat. Exploration, people, where's this bit coming from? Is Nature's Veil going to give me what I'm looking for? Okay, so tireless. Tireless at level 4. Level 11, sorry. And that is temporary hit points. HP. And you get decrease exhaustion. Short rest. Okay, sure, why not? That bit I don't mind at all, frankly. I actually think that makes a lot of sense. Bards, rogues, and rangers are grouped as experts because they have the expertise feat. Right, so they've all got, so you're telling me that the rogue gets, well, expertise for the rogue makes sense. So bards get it, rangers get it, rogues. I actually agree with that. Okay, so I'm not going to bust their hump for that one. What is this Nature's Veil? You invoke spirits of nature to magically hide yourself from view. As a bonus action, oh God, you can expend a spell slot. Oh no, and become invisible until the end of your next turn. Oh no! Why would you want to do that? What you would really want to... Can I just say, I know where they're going with this one, but I think it's shit. I think it's awful. Why would you not want to just be able to cast invisibility and have it last a period of time till the end of your next turn, and you're going to burn a spell slot? Isn't like invisibility a first level spell? Do rangers get invisibility on their goddamn list? Let me just have a look at this, because I'm about to have a little I'm going to have a little, yeah, you're going to hear some things coming out of my mouth. Invisibility, invisibility. No. So they don't get invisibility if you're a ranger. And yet you have to spend an entire first level spell slot to be able to go invisible for like a round. It is terrible. It is terrible. Garbage. Okay, sorry. Not sorry. Not sorry. Nature's Veil. Brackets. Shit. Utter shit. Who in their right mind would be even remotely impressed with this? Bonus action. Bonus action. Spend spell slot for invisible. And how long is that going to last? A round. A 1 round. Okay. That is a 13th level feature, people. A 13th level feature, and that's what they can come up with. I can't believe they did that. That's just stupid. Feral instincts. Where's this? Have we got that already? Feral senses. Feral senses. There we go. There it is. It is a 15. It used to be level 18. Really? Okay, so they brought it back. So feral. So feral senses was level 18. It's now 15. Is it the same? Feral I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's see. Where does it say this? Archetype primal Why am I feral? Yeah, okay. It's a lot shorter. Your connection to the forces of nature grants you blind sight with a range of 30 feet. Okay. Okay, so I think they've just cleaned it up and put less restrictions in there. Less restrictive. Less restrictions, basically, which is fine, you know. It's a higher level feature. This is not the spell invisibility, so maybe you can attack without becoming invisible. Yeah, maybe, but for 1 round, I don't think so. I feel like Nature's Veil is a really poor feature to add to the Ranger. Okay, and I'm not looking for combat stuff. You know me. I'm not looking for the Ranger is supposed to be exploration. I get that. Foe Slayer. What? Foe Slayer? Foe Slayer was 18. Was level 20. Foe Slayer is now level 18. All right, they're moving things around a lot. Okay, so Foe Slayer now level 18. Now level 18, not 20. Interesting. So what have they done with Foe Slayer? Anything interesting? Foe Slayer looks very simple. You gain Oh, they buffed it. What did it do before? Become an unparalleled handler. You can add your wisdom modifier to the damage roll. Okay. Each of your turns, you can add your damage roll. Yeah, your attack making. Oh yeah, Foe Slayer was pretty bad, wasn't it? Now you get this Hunter's Mark. Now deals okay. Rather than extra 1d6. Okay, so it's certainly it's better. It's better. I don't know what to say about this. I'm going to have to break that down. So the feats are, again, feats you get 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19. So you get an extra one, and you go with the ability. Okay, right. Epic boon. You get an epic boon. All right, I'm going to have to be pretty quick about the last one I go through here. It's epic boon. Get an epic boon. Some of those epic boons are very, very powerful. Some of them are very weak. Boon at level 20. All of this adds up to you wind up with a much more powerful ranger, which in some respects is very good. What? Does a ranger get a guidance cantrip? That's from Tasha's, isn't it? Yeah, that's Tasha's. Yep. Okay. I'm going to skip past the hunter and the subclass stuff, the rogue. I'm kind of interested to see what they did with the rogue, and I know I'm going to have to be fairly quick with this, so I will apologize if I go really fast, because I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to have to talk about this thing at some point. I think I'm going to have to come back and talk about this Unearthed Arcana. I haven't even had a chance to have a look at the poll, and I will. Rogue gets expertise. Really? It's level 1. Did they get it at level 1? Yes, they do. So it hasn't changed. These can't. Sneak attack. That's all the same as far as I can tell in terms of when you get it. Rogue subclass is level 3. Feats are in about the same place. Evasion. Evasion is further on. Oh, is it later? You get evasion later? Level 9 and instead of level 7. Okay, alright. Reliable talents in different place. Okay, alright, so let's have a look here. This looks all pretty much the same sort of format, a bit more guidance around it, but pretty much there. Okay, starting equipment. Okay, multi-classing. They've got that sort of thing going on. Same sort of stuff. Level expertise, first level, that frankly looks like it's pretty much the same as it was before, if you ask me. And then you get it again at a later level, so there you get it level 1, and you get it level 7 rather than level 6. Okay, so you get expertise at level 1, and then level 7, not 6. That's sort of pushed it a bit further off. Yeah, I think you're quite right. I think that a rules glossary would easily take up 2 live streams. I think the class stuff, to a certain degree, I mean, this is going to be very hard to pull apart. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this every week. I would go insane. So I don't know how I'm supposed to do this, because there's a lot of stuff I want to do coming up to Halloween as well. Okay. Then the thing that sort of stands out for me is we wind up with, what is it? Evasion 2. Evasion. Normally you get evasion at level 7. Level 7 move to 9. What else is there? Epic boons, stroke of luck. Stroke of luck has been moved. It's now level 18. Alright, well, I'll make a note of that as well. Stoke of luck. Okay, Stoke of luck moved to level 18, not 20. I got it. There's so much stuff. It's going to be hard to unpack. Slippery Mind was level 15, still level 15. What is this? Did Blind Sense disappear? Okay, so let's just make sure let's look at this table here and just have a look quickly. So, Cunning action is still there. That's there. We've got the feats. They've done the same thing they did with everything else. The uncanny dodge is in the same place. We get expertise at a later point rather than quite so early. That's expertise at level level 1 and level 7. Not 6. Evasion has been moved. Feat, subclass feature, reliable talent. Let's have a look. Reliable talent. What have they done with that? Nothing much. It's still in the same place, but what have they changed the wording? Subtle strike. What the heck is subtle strike? Have I missed this? Okay, 4. Subtle strike. I really am running out of time here. Basically, they added the capstone earlier, so yeah. No, I can see that. Slippery Mind. Slippery Mind was level 15. It's in the same place. Elusive. I don't know what this elusive thing is, but subtle strike. I want to look at subtle strike now. Sneak attack. You have advantage on the attack roll. Ally adjacent to a target. At least one of your allies is within 5 feet of the target. The ally isn't incapacitated and you don't have it. Okay, all right. So they've stipulated it's an ally rather than you need to have a the target you're going after needs to have an enemy within 5 feet of them. That could have been an ally. That could have been an enemy of you and the target you're going after. It used to get very complicated. So this actually cleans it all up a lot. Determine the extra damage, roll a da-da-da. All right, so sneak attack has actually been tidied up a bit. Yeah, okay. That's the one thing that stands out with sneak attack. Sneak attack now works the way I would prefer it to work, rather than having the god-awful wording it had before. So, ally within 5 feet. Or advantage. Or advantage. And you can't have disadvantage, which was always, yeah, okay. So that there is this one thing, this ally within 5 feet. That's the change. Okay, thieves can't was, I don't think they've really done anything with that. Cunning action, dash, disengage, hide, bonus action, that's the same. Don't need to worry about that. Feats, we already know about feats. The feats are in places, aren't they? Feats are in 4, 8, 12, 16, 19, so you get an extra feat by the looks again. Correct? Yes, you do. Evasion. What have they done? You can nimbly dodge out of the way of certain danger. When you are subject to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw, take only half damage. Instead, you take no damage. Saving throw, you can't use this feature if you are incapacitated. Well, it seems like it's pretty much the same. I think that's really all we're looking at here. It's the same. Reliable talent. Is that different? I don't think that is. Reliable. I'm going to apologise now if I seem very unorganised, but it's actually a heck of a lot to get your head around. And approach whenever you make an ability check. Reliable talent looks like it's the same as far as I can tell, so we don't have to worry about that. Oops! Don't freak out on me. Stop. Okay, feet. Subtle strike. This is this thing that I've never seen before. When you attack, you know how to exploit a target's distraction. You have advantage on any attack roll that targets a creature that is within 5 feet of at least one of your allies who isn't incapacitated. When you attack, you know how to exploit a target's distraction. You have advantage on the attack roll. It's not damage. You're getting advantage. Okay, when you attack, you can exploit you have advantage on that. And it's not limited to, there's no recharge feature on it. attack roll that targets a creature that is within 5 feet of at least one of your allies. I think this is good. What's that, Pat? You've got here. This may be a good change to the guidance spell. It's a reaction now. Yeah, I think it'll simplify. I think you're right. It will simplify things a lot. So the subtle strike thing basically means you become better at hitting your target, more likely to be able to do that sneak attack damage because you do have advantage as long as there's somebody. Okay, so this is actually pretty good as a feature. But it's still just combat. We're level 13. We're heading into the realm of multiverse travel, and we're still kind of fluffing around with combat features. But let's have a look here. What can we do with this? This is advantage. On attack roll. Attack roll if ally in 5 feet. Okay, all right. Slippery minds. Try and get proficient wisdom and Christmas saving throws. Is slippery mind any different? It's the same. Feats, don't want to worry about that. Elusive. I don't know that oh no, here it is. Elusive, there it is. Elusive is in the same place. 20 twists. Now, what have they done here? At beginning at level, you gain the elusive. No attack roll has advantage against you. What have they done? They've done something different. Okay, no, it's the same. Elusive is the same. There's nothing really going on here. Stoke of Luck is really the sort of the thing that sort of steps out here. Stoke of Luck, Stoke of Luck, Stoke of Luck. Stoke of Luck, and I think that's pretty much the same. And then you get an Epic Boon again. All right. So, Epic Boon, level 20. So there's actually probably very little that has changed with the rogue. Out of all of them, I think that's probably gone through a lot less well. Fred's still going, what a machine. No, mad, crazy, and I have to leave. Like, if I don't, I'm going to get myself into a lot of trouble. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to my camera so you can see my face. I'm going to look very quickly at the chat to see what the poll is like. Okay, and then I know I need to leave. So here we go. Are you excited about the new Unearthed Arcana Expert class PDF that has been released? Yes, 33%. Oh, except 21 people actually responded. Nobody was interested in Druidcraft. No, 24%. Fair enough. Undecided, 29%. And what is that? Okay, so I'm just going to put a poll up on my channel asking, do you want me to do a live stream on, and then give you some choices. And then whoever votes for the thing that stands out the most, that's what I'll do first. Because there's no way I can do everything in one sitting. It would just be impossible. So let's just end that poll. And before I lose my voice, and before I go to a... That's right, I'm actually supposed to be at a Dungeon Master Roundtable discussion. And I'm not there. Where am I? Can I find this channel? Oh, please tell me I can. In about 24 minutes, I'm supposed to be there. Oh, God, I'm going to be in trouble. Here we go. I'm going to give you the link. Copy. People, if you're still up and still want more, and you want to see a group of people talking about stuff, this is the place to go. Astro Gamer, I'll see you later. Bye. I was interested in, I'm so glad that somebody was interested in me talking about Druidcraft. So Astro, thank you. Clearly that's just not going to work when there's a big drop like this, but hopefully the edited version of it will get more traffic. Okay, I'm going to be on HowtoDandD's Twitch channel in about 25 minutes, maybe less, 23 minutes and counting. I'm in so much trouble. Okay, all right, let's find this thing. No, that, it'll do. Thank you for everybody who hung around for this very long-ass nonsense live stream where I tried to talk about Druidcraft and wound up spending more time talking about the Unearthed Arcana expert class and all of the stuff that's changed. You have been amazing. I want to thank my patrons who support me to do this sort of nonsense. I really do. And I want to say thank you to everybody who watches my live streams, my edited videos, the replays of my live streams, which are very long. I totally get it. And wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself. Look after yourself. Look after yourself. Yeah, let's look after yourself and your family. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. And don't do a live stream for 2.5 hours because you will lose your mind. Maurice, I'm glad that you were here